So I'll call this meeting of the planning board to order. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have all our members and our 2 alternates here. So the 2 mics are the alternates, and they're not voting members tonight, but they are welcome to express their feelings and participate in board discussions. The minutes of the previous meeting. What do we think of them? You all received them in email?
Yes, they look fine. I'll make a motion that we approve them as written.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes? So I'm trying to avoid starting before our code enforcement officer is ready to participate. He's a valuable member of the group here.
I will defer to the board's wishes.
Thank you.
You're with Aviest Engineering?
I am not. I'm with Acadia Energy here on it's a little complicated, here on behalf of the applicant, Emerald Trail. The gentleman from Emerald Power that would normally be here just had a baby yesterday. So,
I bet it's his wife.
well, okay, I never know how to say that, but you're correct. The wife had the baby. They had their baby yesterday. So I am here on behalf of the project.
What's your name?
Glenn Walker, Glenn Walker, and I'm with Acadia Energy, a partner of them. We co-developed a lot of solar projects in Maine.
So Acadia Emerald LLC is the one down in New York, and then you have this one Emerald Trail LLC that's set up here in Maine. But you said Acadia Energy, so
Acadia Energy is actually New Hampshire, but we have a lot of projects in Maine.
okay.
The entity here in Baldwin will be an entity called Emerald Trail. That will be a Maine limited liability company.
Right.
I don't think we've got anyone in New York. Maybe we do. Mike, I should say North Carolina, I think. It should be in Asheville. Emerald River is in Asheville.
Thank you very much.
Who do you want to give it to? I got 3 more.
Oh, no, it was New Hampshire. Acadia Emerald LLC.
And one for our secretary here.
Anybody else want one?
Great. Thank you. So we delayed the meeting as long as we could. So, do you want to lead us through this? Tell us about it.
I can. And what I'd like to do, if it's okay with the chair, is just maybe pass out some illustrations.
Oh, sure. Great.
I've got 3, unfortunately. We've got 4 paper copies, but I think it's pretty straightforward. I'll start with the fact that Emerald River is proposing to develop a 1 megawatt AC fixed tilt solar project on a 59-acre parcel here in town. Of the 59 acres, approximately 15 acres will be cleared for the solar. The solar array itself, let's say within the fence line, will be in the neighborhood of 9 acres. Again, general acreages. It will be set back about 100 feet off of Route 113. It will be accessed from Deacon Road. There will be no traffic access required off of Route 113. The electrical interconnection will interconnect to the 3-phase CMP power on Route 113. My understanding is this is the site of a project that had previously been approved by this board for a larger project, a 5 megawatt AC project. It did not go forward because of changes in the rules governing solar in Maine.
Yep.
And, so that project withdrew. My partner Mike Atkinson got site control, and we're here to present this project to you tonight. So that's the high level of it. I did get some, provide the drawings from the, permit application on 11 by 17. It's pretty straightforward, it's a rectangular, fenced-in area with, 1 megawatt of fixed tilt, solar panels in it. It'll have, equipment pad housing our inverters, our combiner, boxes, as well as our transformer, and then, we'll hook into the CMP line on 113.
These are fixed,
Yes, this is going to be a fixed tilt,
Yep.
running east to west with the panels facing south.
okay.
And I can get into, hopefully I can get into as much detail as the board wants, but I can ask any questions. The only other thing I guess I would point out is we are staying out of all of the out of any potential natural resources. You see we've got some wetlands, to the east and west of the project. The project's, staying, beyond the wetland zones, with both tree clearing and construction. We are in the process or have submitted our, stormwater, permit by rule with the state, as well as our, what they call a decommissioning plan. And really what that is for solar is it's a wrap up of all the permits at the state level, plus the decommissioning requirements required by the state of Maine. So the state of Maine requires us to post a bond to them for the, inevitable decommissioning of this project. If we don't decommission it, they'll call our bond and they'll do it for us, I guess.
So you're decommissioned down to 1 foot, is it?
I think it's actually beyond that, but whatever the state requirements are, that's what we would be doing.
So your green is your setback, between your green and your blue line here is, an area that you would clear for sunlight, and you would not be doing anything outside of the green line?
Correct.
What's the distance there between the green and the blue?
It's going to vary.
Yeah.
Obviously it's more to the east because we'd like to get more clearing from the east.
Sure.
We're going to have more clearing to the southern side.
Yep.
I'm just scaling this. If we look at our scale at 100 from the road, we might be 25 to 30 feet on the north side and, 40 to 50 feet on the western side.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's just to give us some buffer on between the fence line and the panels.
So what's going to happen between the green line on the western side and Deacon Road?
Between the green line, nothing.
So are you only renting what's within the green line?
At the moment, we are actually renting the entire site,
Okay.
and we're only developing this 13 to 15 acres.
Okay.
And when I say developing, I'm including what's within our fence line as well as what we're clearing for trees and then reseed.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I'm somewhat familiar with this. I rent to a solar farm also.
What's the lifespan on the whole thing?
I would say at least 25 years and beyond. Obviously, if you look at the components, I'll just give you the high level components. Your civil works got a 100-year life. We're going to have some concrete pads. Those concrete pads will have, a 70 to 100-year life. Then we'll have the racking. The racking, I would hope, would have a 50 to 100-year life. And then our panels, which, is basically the solar panels, they're guaranteed for 25.
Mm-hmm.
We get 30 to 40 out of them, or does somebody, put new panels on to what we call repowering, say. Inverters are about 10 years, so we will have to do inverter replacement. But again, that's a small component of the systems.
Are you going to do any battery storage?
This is not going to have any battery storage. No battery storage.
Straight into the grid, and that's it.
Straight into the grid. Yeah. No, we are not doing battery storage on this site.
Yeah, that's another battle entirely.
I've fought a lot of battles, and yeah, that is a battle entirely.
Yeah.
So, but no, we have not, we've done probably 20 projects in Maine, and we have not added battery storage to any of them.
Yeah, it's other people
You know,
in battery storage.
And I actually worked with a company that put on the first battery storage in Maine. We've got one in Rumford, we've got a couple up in, where's the other one we have? Anyway, I can't think of the name of the town, but it's one of the municipal utilities.
Yep.
We've got some batteries there, but those are different.
Yes, yep, different story, different problems and so forth. The feedback that we get about solar is that it doesn't look like what we've had in Baldwin in the past. And so my concern is setbacks and screening. I mean, that's going to be my concern. My personal point of view is that the state has taken care of a lot of the other problems. As you say, clean up when the job's done. Ripping all the lines up and cleaning everything up. That's all kind of been covered by the state. They're worrying about it. My worry is what happens outside that green line along 113 and along Deacon Road, between your project and Deacon Road, your project and 113.
Why is it close to 113 if you have a large property? Why aren't you pushing towards up the hill?
I think we're trying to minimize that interconnection, and we're trying to stay out of wetlands and that.
What type of truck access do you need to have to that?
Long term, almost none. Deliveries, we will probably need, and again, depends on what we do. If we have limited access, we can break the construction loads down. But typically, you'll have one load of an 18-wheeler that will drop off racking panels, but it'll be 1 to 2 loads, and then that will be it. And then probably the heaviest piece of equipment to go in there will be the transformer. A couple tons of transformer, so we'll need a crane truck to set that.
We had looked at the site before for similar use, and we were concerned with the access to the site, the Deacon Road entrance there, truck turning and so forth, and getting into the site. There's an issue with at least that application.
Again, having built a couple of these, I don't think so, because if they can't get the 18-wheeler in there for the delivery, they'll just use a low, or
And then just control on the street.
Yeah, or we can pull into Deacon, they can unload the truck with the low, because like I said, it's gonna be racking, panels, and it's such a small project, it's 1 megawatt, probably one truckload of racking and 1 truckload of panels.
Probably are gonna need to have some more dialogue on that, because it was a big issue with the other one. You were actually going to widen Deacon Road, move the monument, and then cut into the town right away and Anderson land on the west side, because I don't know if you've been there, but Deacon is a 1-lane road. You can't get 2 vehicles, and it used to be until this past summer, I was the only person who lived down there, down by Sanborn Pond. But now we have Carrie Anderson and her fiance living there too. So there's 2 families that are coming in and out, and we wouldn't be able to get in and out if there's a semi coming in or out, or if it's parked there or anything. It would be nice to avoid having to move the monument and widen the road. I mean, it keeps Baldwin, but it would take really well-planned logistics as to when the construction trucks would be coming in and where they were going to park and everything like that. And the communication with the last company was suboptimal. It's just something we might want to. I mean, they did a lot of DOT analyses to determine whether it was practical to have an entrance off of 113 and what the sight lines were, and it all eventually ended up that it was going to be, stay with the Deacon Road entrance. Yeah, and it's more than just inconvenience for the people living on the road. You have mail trucks coming in and out. You have propane trucks coming in and out. You have oil deliveries coming in and out. You have Amazon, UPS. And here's the other thing. Jamie McDonald sold the 66 acres that starts on the other side of Town Farm Road and wraps all around the back of Sanborn Pond. He sold that to Farouk Salik and a group of investors that plan to put tiny homes, little conglomerations of tiny homes for vacation rentals and things like that. And they'll be accessing that off of Town Farm Road. They have to go all the way down Deacon, turn up Town Farm, past my land, and then cut all the way in to get to their land. So at some point in the future, don't know when, there'll be even more traffic. And the bottom line for what we want to avoid is any risk to the people of Baldwin, because it's happened to me a couple of times, and it's my own, bad habit. You're zooming down 113 and, you got your blinker on and you're going to turn in to Deacon Road because you don't think anybody's going to be there. But then there's somebody there, and you gotta slam on the brakes, and the traffic there, it gets up 60, 70 miles an hour, and really what we want to plan for and avoid is any congestion at that intersection that will put anybody at risk. So I'll stop there on that topic and just say that it's something we need to
I think
think about carefully.
along the same line. Before we were looking for providing a lay down area on site, also a turnaround area on site. So what Matt is describing doesn't happen.
Okay, I will take that back. That's a concern for lay down. I mean, I can see right now that we'll have plenty of lay down. Again, you're going, this is one-fifth the size of what you had before.
You're still close to 113.
But it is close to 113, and I'm trying to decide if what we do is we commit not to use 18-wheelers, and we bring in smaller trucks. We stack it, we basically break the loads down off-site, or if we confirm that we can back an 18-wheeler, or we can get an 18-wheeler off your site, build that access road enough to get it in there.
Or just some sort of turnaround so you can come out.
Yeah, I mean,
at first.
And the other thing is there's a culvert. There's a culvert midway down Deacon Road, it gets degraded on there. Our road commissioner has done a really good job last year building the road up some, but that culvert is not gonna stand up to an 18-wheeler going over it.
Okay, that I can understand.
Yeah, so it's not like they can pull in and go down to, the turnaround.
No, I wouldn't expect them to go beyond our site. In other words, and again, I have a photo of a project where we just laid down in Farmington, and it's not a lot of material for a project of this size, but I will get back to you on that. We will make a plan, we will make a traffic plan.
A little bit of a turnaround there. I think you have that hammerhead there, but that's gonna be your only turnaround.
On site, or we can do lay down to the south of that, we can widen this driveway.
Push it up a little bit, take a little more room.
Yeah, again, some of this is trying to minimize how much we're impacting outside the property if we can help it.
And that's great, I
So-
appreciate
so-
that.
Maybe we open up that driveway and then we do a planting to shrink the driveway back down. I mean, that's what we did. We did that in Turner, I think, where we had a massive opening and we ended up shrinking it with some planting, so. Yeah, because I think what you're saying is if we can open that northern side of that access up, and then maybe replant it.
Yeah, that might be a better way.
So, do we wanna just kind of flip through this application and see if we're gonna move on from here to a sidewalk? And are we going to accept this application, tonight? Or do we have other things that we want to ask for? Yeah, okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Yep. So, starting with,
Is $50 the right fee, or is it $125?
No, I charge
$150.
Yeah, for
Did we-
conditional use, right?
did we get the money?
I think so.
It says here,
I didn't.
will be
Yeah,
made
it
via
says
credit
50.
card in the amount of $50.
No, I saw that.
Okay, okay, we got 150. I do it right on the application. And it was received by you,
No,
Debbie?
Jeff, yeah.
Okay, I will believe it, because I'm that kind of a guy.
When did that?
Do we know when that?
No, when did you become that kind of guy?
I started baking recently, yeah.
I'm sorry, could you tell me your name?
Glenn, Glenn, Walker, Walker.
So I'm going through the application. You're going through,
It's just a couple pages. It's a planning board permit application.
planning board permit application, okay.
I wanted to ask about the documentation. You said you've already obtained approval from CMP to connect their infrastructure at this location. It would be good to have that approval as part of the documentation package, because it's just a matter of reassurance, because, we go through all this work and we spent a lot of time on the last project with site walks and public hearings and extensions and everything. And then it got killed because they couldn't get their transmission interconnectivity agreement. So if that's not gonna be a barrier, it'd be good to have that document.
I'm assuming we can email that in?
You email it to Ken, and
Yeah.
I'm sure Ken can take care of it, right?
I'll take care of it.
Put the work on Ken.
Yeah,
Thank
that has been approved by CMP.
Yeah, great.
Trust me, if that wasn't approved, we wouldn't be having this meeting. Because I've been through too many of those. I can't get that. This is all for nothing.
Yeah, I'm not looking as we go through this to see if we approve what has been submitted. I'm just looking at whether we have enough documentation, try to get the documents lined up. That's what we're trying to do right now. And I was very impressed with the application. I like complete applications, and this is pretty darn good. And I like that. Okay, Exhibit 1, conditional use permit application, and your addresses are on there, and it says lease attached. The owner's name is Jamie McDonald. Did you include his deed? The deed to this?
Don't believe I saw that, but the lease agreement.
We need the deed also. Believe it or not, we've had people come in here for conditional use permits for land they didn't own.
I'm going to go bring this up now,
Yep.
but, I don't believe Jamie McDonald's subdivision agreement is current.
Subdivision agreement.
Yeah, so
I was thinking about that because
let's go to Exhibit A here. Now, we approved a, subdivision revision for Jamie McDonald when he wanted to, do the last solar farm. Okay, now, he just sold 66 acres to Farouk Salik, which is this part of that red block. Okay, now, he did not come before the planning board to change the parcels or boundaries of the subdivision when that, sale of a parcel that wasn't delineated in the subdivision was sold. So I don't know how they got proper title to that piece of land.
I'm not sure that Jamie McDonald's subdivision was really a subdivision. It just had 2 lots.
No, it was a subdivision.
it was a subdivision because of this house right here that got built on the wrong land.
He signed it and approved it.
He had to come in for a subdivision in order to approve that.
I've looked at the drawings there, it's not within the subdivision, and there's only 2 lots.
That would be my, again, I'm stepping in here at maybe the 11th hour, but that would be my understanding as well, is lot 1 is a 59-acre parcel.
Yeah.
And then there's another lot, again, that's my understanding.
Looking at this map here, it's the area that's in red includes Jamie McDonald's, right?
So the thing is, I think,
This is actually 2 lots.
Actually, 2 lots.
is actually also.
And those 2 lots are not delineated on his last approved subdivision.
Right. It would be nice if that 2 lots showed on this exhibit.
So is there also a third lot that's right in here? This house here?
No, that's down here.
Okay. So,
That's
okay,
on the other side of Tom White.
okay, so this is 2 lots, and what's wrong with
It
that?
shows it as
Why
120.
would that be a subdivision?
Because these weren't 2 lots on the original subdivision that we approved in 2022.
So he's allowed
Which
to
is,
make,
which is back here.
so he's allowed to make 2 lots out of 1 lot, right?
Not yet the subdivision. Once it's in subdivision, if it is in subdivision. Once it's in subdivision.
This was the subdivision that we approved.
Okay,
Lot 2 is 125 acres. Lot 1
Yep.
he sold to Tom White,
Right,
okay? Lot 2 has never been changed, and he broke this off and sold it, and now he's putting because remember, when the old solar farm was gonna be in there,
yep,
they, were gonna go past Town Farm Road, and the town had to give them permission to go on the other side of Town Farm Road, and now there's a lot line that follows Town Farm Road.
right, so you can take this piece and you can divide it into two.
Not if it's a subdivision.
You say there is a lot line there.
Because there's a lot line here,
Yeah.
and we had to do that as a subdivision because of,
This is 66 acres here that was sold to Farouk.
okay, so that, the fact, the way this is a subdivision is that this larger piece was, 2 acres were split off here. And then the problem is, what you're saying,
Look, right here, it says subdivision plan, McDonald property, and we all signed it.
Yep.
February 24th, 2022. This is the last, documentation, the last official approval of this subdivision.
I just saw. So this was a subdivision to make 2 lots here. This was never a subdivision like this. So there really is not a lot line.
There is not, but this portion has been sold.
Is there a deed description for that sale?
I don't know.
so the lot line is here. See, I remember there being a problem with it being that Jamie's total property was 2 tax lots. And I'm trying to remember where the divisions are in the
There's another
total.
piece that was on the other side of Deacon's Road, that, Reggie Anderson bought.
Yeah.
But that's on the other side of the road, so it's not part of,
And by the way, Town Farm Road actually divides it. So those are separate lots. They were there. Why they don't subdivide it, I'm not sure.
well, the fact remains that it's a subdivision.
Definitely a subdivision. Trying to remember why we did the subdivision.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to reconstruct.
This is a stand or subdivision. The town subdivision, lot 1, lot 2. Then you have the house right here.
Yep.
Right there. And then you have the Anderson property across from Deacon Road.
That one's not in subdivision because it's on the other
So-
side of the
so-
road.
I'm not saying
Bob?
Yeah.
You're a selectman, you're not a member of the planning board.
No, it's not.
That's okay. At least in my opinion.
So
So,
if I ask, is that a right of way?
this right here?
Yeah.
That's Deacon Road.
That's the,
So then, Matt, where's your house? Up here? Back here?
Yeah.
Okay. So why did we have
I have a
to?
tent out on that island right there.
A year after.
Why did we have to do a subdivision? Now, remember, there was a reason, like, he had to do a subdivision.
That was the discussion.
Discussion was over that house that was built by mistake on his land.
That was a discussion, so these were both discussions. There's another piece to it.
He wanted to sell to Tom White.
And that divided his property.
Tom wasn't in the business at that point, was he?
What's Tom White on?
The, lot 1.
Lot 1. So he sold lot 1.
Yep.
Right. And now, Farouk Salik and his band of investors
piece in here.
own all of this.
Out of subdivision.
That does not divide these two, because they are already divided by law. If you look at the rules on subdivision, it's the same reason why this wasn't being subdivided.
But once it's in the subdivision, I'm not sure those same rules apply.
You guys made a subdivision, but it wasn't one.
Well, I'm not sure it was in this, Bob. I'm trying to remember why there was,
Says subdivision plan.
If there's, and then this is just me, if there's confusion, is it just because of the road here and that's?
well,
Who owns the property?
so what Bob is saying is these two parcels may be separate by law because a road
Yep.
intersects them.
Is there a right of way around Farm Road? They have a right of way established.
Written right away.
So see note 14, for the legal status of the roadways, see below reference documents. Town Farm Road accepted,
Definitely on the right of way.
discontinued.
It's not discontinued.
Well, I'm just reading what it says.
But the
No,
note
no,
is not.
no,
No, it's not there.
held center line for location.
What's the B4P294 article?
Isn't that in subdivision?
So page 294, volume 4, article 11, Beacon Road, accepted, Pigeon Brook Road, no record found.
Yeah, we need the deed.
You need the deed
Does,
of this.
does anybody know what this means? B4P294?
I don't know whether that
I might be able to get the deed.
statement that Town Farm Road, is not discontinued would hold up, because while the town has not officially discontinued Town Farm Road like it did with Deacon Road, once it becomes a two-track, there's a statutory abandonment, which happens when a town or city has not maintained a road for at least 30 years, turning that former road automatically into a public easement. And then there's common law abandonment, occurs when the public has not used the road for 20 years, the public in this case not including the landowners that use the road for access to their property. Under common law abandonment, no public easement is created and ownership reverts to the abutting landowners.
Well, if you want, you can take that to court, but
I don't want to take anything to court, I'm
It's
just.
our road to the town farm.
It may be the town's road to the town farm, but it has effectively been abandoned.
Is there power running to it? Is
No.
there power running on it?
No power, no maintenance, no nothing. It's not even a dirt road.
So here's what the
It's a
notes say.
two-track.
The notes are interesting. It says there are 3 roads that run through this surveyed premises. Beacon Road, Town Farm Road, and Pigeon Brook Road. According to a conversation with Wes Sunderland,
Okay.
Code Enforcement Officer for Baldwin, the portion of Beacon Road past Fricker has been deemed abandoned by the town for at least 50 years. We all agree on that?
I agree.
At some point, yeah, but it's not abandoned, it's discontinued. Another term, but it means the town said, we're done.
Okay, well, this isn't,
Yeah.
Pigeon Brook Road is still considered a public road by the town, but the apparent location is difficult to ascertain in the area where it may first come off Route 113. Pigeon Brook Road.
That road has not existed in my lifetime.
And the town.
Yeah, I mean, I know that area.
Okay.
That means we got 2 pigeons.
Yeah.
Wow.
CD from Richard and Harriet Chase to Nathan Sanborn, flowage, freights recorded, okay, different Anderson family property, right on this corner, Beacon. The lot to the Anderson family property did not constitute a subdivision as the lot resided on the opposite side of the public portion of Beacon Road. You know? And then it gets to 14, which is the town farm road, and it says, for the legal status of roadways, see the below reference document. But I don't know what this reference is. B, for the town farm road, says discontinued, and it has a reference to a document. I don't know what it is.
So who at Sebago Technics did that? Do we have a name of the surveyor?
Yeah, I'm working. I got handwritten deeds here, so we're like back in, you know.
So, let me, the reason I brought this up is because this issue bothered me when the 66 acres was sold to Farouk Salik and his investors. And now we have another parcel that's being sold off. And I don't want to see Jamie or, ABS and Emerald Trail have any difficulties with titles or insurance or the surety bonds or anything like that, because there is not an appropriate subdivision map and definition. We could probably fairly easily fix this subdivision if we deem it needs fixing. So, I wanted to try and avoid a situation where something happens in the future where a bank or an insurance company or a title company comes back to Baldwin and says, what the hell are you guys doing? You approved all these things and, your subdivision's not up to date. And it's just, if it needs fixing, we can fix it to avoid the problems.
And what's going to happen, my experience in solar farms, is that you are not going to want rent outside of anything more than what you absolutely have to. And so there's land between where, as far out as you want to go, and Jamie McDonald's property line.
But as of now, we are renting that whole 59.
But to get your conditional use permit, I don't want to see us approve something and then the next thing we know, somebody's in here and they want to build a house over. I mean, we got to approach the whole thing.
Well, here's the thing. So I had a nice chat with Tom White when I almost front-ended him ripping into Deacon Road the other day. Luckily, I was able to pull over and we were window to window. He told me that Jamie McDonald had talked to him about buying some of the land that wasn't going to be used for the solar farm, and then he said something to Jamie about wanting to carve out a few house lots to give to his kids and stuff like that. And, can't do that. Right. None of that is on the subdivision map. So I think as part of making this happen, there should be some dialogue with Jamie and with ABS and Emerald Trail. I mean, this may work out in Jamie's favor and maybe Tom White's favor, because if Emerald Trail doesn't need 59 acres because they're only going to use 15, or maybe they're only going to use 20 or 25, that's half of this lot that, could be carved out in a subdivision revision, that, maybe, Tom would wanna buy some for what he's doing with his property, or, Jamie could carve out the lots that he wants for his kids or something like that, but, we've done enough things, bass backwards that, we don't need to, this was before Joe was chair, of course. That, we should try and do this one right. Just get it fixed.
So you're suggesting that the property lines and who's gonna do what with this subdivision should be straightened out before we go too much further?
I agree. I think we can, I don't wanna, be seen as holding this process up and people thinking I'm doing it just because I live on Deacon Road. So I think we can parallel track this, because, we're not gonna be approving the CUP tonight.
Right.
It's gonna take a little while before we approve it, and then we have 35 days to hold a public hearing and a site walk. We have to notify abutters, and there's probably not any reason that we can't parallel track the CUP process with fixing the subdivision.
So I think there might be, because,
Okay.
we're talking about people who aren't in this room.
Yeah.
And getting them to make decisions. Sure. And I'm just concerned that we say we accept the application, because that's when the clock starts.
Yeah, and we can't accept it, because that's when the clock starts ticking.
Right. So I would like to have a little bit more straightened out about who owns what and who's gonna do what with what on this subdivision.
So according to the minutes,
Yeah, please.
So according to the minutes, originally, Jamie McDonald asked for a 3-parcel subdivision. And we did not treat the Anderson or the Connor parcels as part of subdivision. And then we signed it, we approved the subdivision with 3 parcels, and then he didn't file it within 90 days. So he came back and asked to amend it on 2/24/22. And the amendment, the only thing he changed was he merged lots 2 and 3 together.
Oh, okay.
Because he wanted to have it as a single parcel.
Yep.
And so he asked to merge those 2 together, and there was a vote on 2/24/22 where the board accepted it over my objection. I don't know why I objected, but I voted no. I don't know why.
See, this used to be 2 and 3.
I don't know where the line is, but yeah, 2 used to be 2 and 3.
Yep.
And so then now it is a 2-lot subdivision, but by the request of the applicant to modify it.
So that happened without the board being involved in that?
Some part.
The conglomeration of 2 lots into 1 lot?
He did, he asked to do it.
February
And
24th.
we agreed.
Okay.
And there's 4 names, mine's the only one,
And we cut some corners to do this for him.
But here's the problem, so whoever bought one is in violation.
Right.
And the town should send them a notice of violation that that parcel doesn't exist.
Right.
Right.
Because even if, as you say, town road, which the map, the thing pretty clearly says it's discontinued. But even if town road is a road and it separates out the lot, once it goes into subdivision, the rules will change.
Right.
If that's what,
Even though technically it doesn't meet the rules of the subdivision. You have to have 3 lots to do a subdivision.
well, there were 3 lots actually. The Connor lot was parceled off within 5 years. We just didn't include it into the subdivision,
Subdivision, right.
but it was a third lot at the time. There's no question.
Oh, I know that, but you didn't charge it as part of the subdivision. I guess the question is, when he came back and combined those two into one,
That's defaulted out of the subdivision.
no, he's saying, no, it's still part of the subdivision.
Well, I don't know if it was or wasn't, but he asked for us to sign. So the town should send, I don't know what the guy's name is, you know the guy's name. Farouk, a letter saying, you bought a parcel that doesn't exist and can't exist because it's part of a subdivision. And then you and Farouk and
This will be fun.
it's pretty easily done. It's
Well,
pretty
yeah,
easily worked out.
And I'm gonna just keep silent because I'm not sure I know enough because I've got some title abstracts. I don't remember any getting pulled on our title, but that's not to say somebody didn't miss something. And I seem to only have a portion of it on my computer.
Well, in the first part, the first wave, he didn't file it at the time, so maybe this is a file date. Yeah, this was recorded as a,
So we have, I do have an unofficial copy of that. And again, I've got some of the extracts where I want to talk to who did the title before I make a full determination. But usually we have this worked out. So I'm just want to make sure I'm not missing. And since I wasn't involved, I can't really speak to it.
I mean, we're incredibly receptive to moving this around in a way that works for the parties. Like, the only reason we had to do this was because, and you don't know the backstory, the house right here, so it was built, but the guy thought he was building on his property, but it was actually, his property was down the road a quarter mile. So once he figured out he was on the wrong property, what's the guy's name, Jamie, was like, dude, I'll work with you, I'll sell you the property. But to do that, he also wanted to do two separations, so he had to do a subdivision if he wanted to separate it.
But it sounds like this other sale has also triggered something that needs to be resolved that I don't want to get caught up in the tailwind of that.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure I was aware of that because I'm not seeing that here.
Farouk, you're not seeing
Yeah, I'm not seeing the
person?
group transaction. And I don't know
Maybe it was a lease, like, maybe he leased it, maybe he hasn't done it.
Maybe he didn't buy it yet.
Yeah. He was off.
So I'm also concerned, while you're going about doing this, I'm also concerned about that, what's between the green line and Jamie's property line.
And when you say concerned, okay.
This line here.
What's going on between here and here?
Nothing. So that will be no disturbance.
No disturbance, so, but my point of view is, as your 25-year lease goes on, at some point in the next 25 years, somebody's gonna wanna put in 20 houses over here. And
Okay.
who has control of that land going forward?
And again, this is high level,
Yeah.
because of that, I think that was almost around pool, which is why that's there. Yeah, so I'm not sure you can get anything in there.
What about over here?
That
What
I don't
about
know.
there? All the little,
Some of that we will control via the lease.
Yeah.
But again, I understand what you're saying, it's 59-acre parcel, we're gonna have 15-ish.
we ought to designate what's going on in the whole parcel. I mean, that's,
Would have to say other 40 acres.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here, about the rest of that land is, we want to straighten it out and get it legal. Not hard to get through us. We're pro-business. We'd like to see taxable property coming to Baldwin. We don't want to make life hard on you. We want to get it done right.
What is the, use of the electricity that this will generate?
It will be net metered to CMT customers. So it will be delivered to the CMT grid. And once it gets in there, it's just fungible with all the other electricity, but the project will be, what they call a community solar. So people will be able to subscribe to it, and basically you'll get a bill credit. You'll get the benefit to you is you get say you give me 85 cents, I give you $1 on your CMP bill.
So can we go on with this? We're looking at map 5, lot 14 in the rural district, wholesale business, solar energy. So we will go down. There are no submissions about these considerations.
One of the things we're gonna need to do is get our fire chief to review, the plans, because, he looks at the ability of the town to provide necessary fire protection services to the site and development, so we'll be our fire chief to jump the sidewalk on it.
Yes.
One of Joe mentioned this, and I want to reinforce it, and that is because our history with solar farms and feedback from the community is that the first one we approved, we were negligent in making sure that it wasn't visible from 113. And even though they still planted little pine trees, you can still see the entire solar farm from 113. And actually, I won't bother to look it up now, but beyond keeping Baldwin rural in the comprehensive plan, do you know what the number 2 comment was? Solar farms, better controlled, because everybody was worried about that we were getting inundated with solar farms. Now that's probably died down because of the net ruling, that a lot of them went away, but we really have to, and here's the point for you and your team. When we have the public hearing, we will need to visually show them, both at the public hearing and the site walk, that the setback and the visual buffer will be very thorough and effective.
Yeah. When I first negotiated the lease for my solar farm, I had them put a dog leg in, and they twisted my arm for months and finally got me to allow them to go straight in. But if you were to find yourself able to make that a little dog leg where your transmission line is, so that as you drive by on 113, you're not looking at a solar farm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
As I sit here and look at this, yeah, let me take a look at that.
Yeah, that's just all I'm asking.
Yeah,
I understand
we
your
can do
restraints. You want things straight, and straight lines and dog legs are great, but just if you could find it in your heart.
Well, no, yeah, I'll have to beat my electrical engineer for him to figure it out. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying, or figure out a way to offset them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So application date, then we've got your answer to the planning board shall consider these things, and we will. And I just, you have some things you wanted to say in that.
One of the things we discussed on the last project is that at the gate on the way in, we wanted to make sure that there was emergency numbers, and if somebody needs to be contacted for any problems that we could get a hold of. We talked about the trucks, we talked about the roads. Oh, the longtime chair of the planning board, North Lake, is a shortwave radio, ham radio operator. And on every solar farm that we have done, we have had to have the people make a map of where the solar farm will be and where the 3 or 4 ham radio operators or shortwave radio operators are involved in, to make sure that the solar farm is not going to interfere with their frequencies. Now, I think that was actually a page or an input or a document in their submission. Maybe Jamie has a copy of that. I no longer have my copy of it, but it's something that you might be able to leverage rather than reduce.
Okay.
He will come.
Many people have said that the frequencies are totally different. They don't cross at all, but nonetheless, we're gonna have this raised, so you might as well be prepared.
Okay, yeah,
He
no,
will be at the public hearing.
yeah, we have, I think we've dealt with this before, because it's our inverters. It would be the inverters interfering with ham radio, and I think I'll just take that one back.
What's a Knox box?
That's what the police would, the fire department would use. Knox box is just the key that holds the key. Yeah, the thing that holds the key is the array. Although most fire chiefs, I say, they'll just cut our lock.
Yeah.
So, they're like, you can put a Knox lock there, we probably won't use it, we'll probably just cut it. But
They've got their
we have a
own
Knox
Knox
box
box,
everywhere for the fire chief, yes.
Is the company that's going to investigate the latest mapping of the wetlands and the vernal pools and everything like that, is that going to be really clearly shown on a large map relative to the site of the footprint of the solar panels?
It is on that 11 by 17, that's already been done, by David Moyes. And I can, if it's not clear enough, we can try and clarify it. But that would be your wetland. Greenhouse. Yeah, that would be your wetland delineation that has been done. And because I believe that was a wetland of significance, that is the setback off of that wetland.
So that was sealed down?
That was done by David Moyes, yes. Yeah, that's all. Yes, we've done it in the field. It's been flagged. And I think yes, it's been done, it's been flagged. Don't think there's another step because we are submitting our PBR. We wouldn't be submitting our PBR if that wasn't done. So yes, that's all done.
Great. Is this, Tom, does this reflect the resource protection zone?
I don't have that with me.
That's something we should look at.
We should look at it. I can look at it.
Yeah, I think we would have flagged that. I'm pretty sure ABS would have flagged that if it was there.
Because what we have is on wetlands, we have a 250-foot buffer under resource protection. Okay.
I think you'll find, I'm just bringing up things that could slow us down when we have a public hearing.
Okay, I appreciate it.
So we should show a buffer.
Yep.
Sure. You say there are 4 other, what are the location of the other solar energy projects in Maine? What towns are they in?
Projects we've done, well, I'll give you the emerald ones. Turner. Turner, Litchfield, Poland, Newport, and I'm missing one. Brookfield, Poland, that's 4, right?
Yep. It said develop 4 solar energy projects in Maine, so
Yeah.
that's 4.
Oh, Thorndike,
Going to-
so that's 5 actually.
Are they all done and complete?
They are waiting for construction. Those are all waiting for construction, but they're fully permitted. We have one operational in Turner, and then Acadia Energy has done projects in Fort Fairfield, Old Town, and Holt.
Any litigation or problems or lawsuits, in any of those towns?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Do you operate them, or do you build them and then sell them off?
The bigger ones we sold off. The smaller ones we're doing a combination of selling and operating. Like the one in Turner, we're operating. The one in Litchfield, we're probably going to operate.
Where's your operations center?
We contract with Runtime Solar, which is a subsidiary of Norwich, and they're in Portland. So we've got people that can come up from Portland to do whatever. And again, that's where they're headquartered. They've got field techs everywhere. Like I had an outage in Turner the other day, and they were there in a couple hours.
Do you have a gate at the fence line?
Yes.
I wouldn't suggest putting a gate by the road, just because where it's going to be secluded and there's enough space there for multiple cars to go in. It just may become an issue later on.
Yeah, just like a farm
Just
gate.
like a farm gate, just something to keep vehicle traffic out.
Yeah, you have one of those.
Yep.
On yours. Yep, it's actually wooden.
Those are always a hard call, because some people love them, some people don't, but that's fine. I get it.
Yeah, I know enough.
Metal.
Yeah, I had to put one in. We put one in our Turner site because same thing.
Probably the biggest problem around here is the camping. So
Yeah.
somebody would go in there, pull in, throw a couple of refrigerators.
The mattress or whatever else.
Tires on my land.
I mean, I gotta get my tires somewhere.
Yeah.
I need to burn
So
some.
that's
So
we had a site in Farmington when we started pulling tires out of the ground. We were 430-yard dumpsters of tires by the time we started pulling those tires out of that site. And you look at it and you're like, hey, we're gonna have to pull some tires. I get it. And the guys like they just kept coming.
Years ago.
This Emerald Trail LLC, the filing date was 7/15/25 for, the Bureau of Corporation Selections and Commissions. So if you have 5 other projects in Maine, why is this Emerald Trail LLC so recent?
We put all the projects in an LLC. So
Different LLC.
right, every one of the projects is in an LLC. And we typically don't do that until we have line of sight on that CMP application.
Yeah.
So we will, and when I say it's CMP approved, not application, CMP approval.
I read through the lease agreement, and certainly that's between you and James McDonald. But there were some things in there that I didn't quite understand, or that confused me a little bit. And I just asked a couple questions. It talks about battery systems. Now, I know you said that there will be no battery systems on this.
That is correct.
That's probably something that we want to put in
As a condition.
As a condition.
Yep.
Because the lease agreement says that they can. Here's one in 1.3C, the exclusive right for any audio, visual, view, light, shadow, noise, noise, vibration, air, turbulence, wake, electromagnetic, or other effect of any kind or nature whatsoever resulting directly or indirectly from any operations conducted on the premises. That's your lease right. And it seemed to me that some of your lease rights in here kind of infringe on things that the town might not grant you. Not that we're leasing the land to you, but so I think we're going to have to look at this lease agreement carefully to make sure that we include anything that we don't think is in their purview, that we address it in the conditions.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, this language has been used a bunch of times, and, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure by now it's boilerplate.
Some lawyers put that in there,
Yeah.
maybe added to it over the years, so.
Yeah, they don't take out, do they? No. One of the things that we have incurred with all of the solar farms that we've approved, except Joe's, is that they were never started within the. There's so many clauses for this. One says a year, the building permit is 18 months. In another part of our ordinances, it's 2 years. But basically it says that if, from the time of approval, if you don't meaningfully start construction, then you have to apply all over again. And, you know, so.
I do that a lot. So the years pretty typical. You know, depending, so the state permits are 24 months. Most of the town permits are 12, especially conditional use.
Right.
So like in Winthrop, we had to get our permits extended 1 year for that one, and that was the CAP issue. That was early on. Yeah, that's just kind of standard operating practice. And just to give you a sense, if we don't get this thing somewhat started, we can do it through equipment purchase, but our investment tax credits, we got a window of July 1st of this year to kind of move on this.
I don't see why we can't get you done before then.
And again, I'm just saying that's and we can, you know, do some work around it, but that is when the tax laws change to the point where these really become hard to pencil. So.
Okay. Let's try and get that happen. So,
3 months.
yeah, under section 6, lessors, representations, warranties, and covenants. The lessor represents and warrants for the lessee that there are no circumstances known to the lessor or no commitments to third parties that may damage, impair, otherwise adversely affect the lessee's rights hereunder. It being expressly understood and agreed, however, that the lessee's use of the premises at all times shall be subject and comply in all respects with applicable local, state, and federal rules, regulations, codes, ordinances, and pertaining to the premises, right? So that means that you have to.
All the rules.
Right.
That sounds like the condition that we put in.
Right.
To all of our conditional use permits anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, is it really feasible for the lessee to provide you a setback waiver? The lessor hereby waives, to the extent permitted by law, any and all setbacks and setback requirements, whether imposed by law or any person including any setback requirements described by any applicable zoning ordinance or in any government entitlement or permit, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he can't give you the right to ignore the town's zoning ordinance and setback requirements.
No, he can't. That I think is more in line with, he can't infringe on us, right? And or, hold on, let me read that again. Lease or now in the future owns or leases any land adjacent to the premise. Yeah, okay, so lease or waives to the extent permitted by law. So if he's permitted to do it by law, he can do it, but he can't do it if it's not permitted by law. Any and all setback and setback requirements, whether imposed by law or any person, including any setbacks described in any applicable zoning ordinance and government. I'm trying to put that into less confusing English. My read on that is basically he can't infringe on us. So the example that we use a lot of times is you're doing this and you're adjacent to a parking lot, and then they all of a sudden decide they're going to change that parking lot with either screening or build something there and shade this, or it infringes on our
Ten-story
setback.
building.
Yeah.
There's two things that we should probably get proof of. One is under 8B, your insurance, general liability insurance, not less than $1 million, blah, blah, blah. So we should get proof of that. And the other thing is that in our land use ordinance, there is a pretty extensive section, page 19, 4.3F on performance guarantees and contents of the guarantee, escrow accounts, performance bonds, letters of credit, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you have a performance guarantee or a bond with the state, that means that you set up the funding or the commitment to clean up this under, if you would terminate the lease halfway through and it needed to be taken away, or at the end of its useful life to clean up the site. What I want to make sure of is that whatever, performance guarantee that you have with the state will cover the town if anything happens where you guys walk away in 5 years or 10 years or something like that, and the whole solar farm is still there.
I got two things there. One is the futility of requiring somebody to show us an insurance policy year after year. Mayetta had one of those, and a couple of times I checked on it 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't know what it was, and nobody ever checked on it, and the insurance company didn't know what I was talking about. And nobody's going to do
We
that.
have a very diligent CEO now.
Is he still here? But my experience, how many CEOs have we had since I've been on the board? I don't know, maybe like 5,000 or something. But I'm just cautioning you. Yeah, now I'm sure, Ken's going to go on.
He can write a program in AI to do it automatically.
Oh, there you go.
If I might, and I have not looked at page section 19 or page 19, but if it's with respect to the decommissioning bond, just to give you a quick high level on how the state does it. So the state's gonna require that we do a bond. And we can put the town's name on that bond too. So you can be co-insured on
Great.
the bond. Then the bond, the state under statute every 5 years updates that. So again, I'm not saying you might not want to.
Let the state spend the money.
But it is a process that will be updated every 5 years.
Good.
So that's the current standard. Again, I've been doing this long enough that I remember when we did the first few in Maine, there was no decommissioning bonds whatsoever.
Right.
And then everyone said, wait a minute. And the towns were doing it themselves, and the DEP finally said, we really have the bigger hammer here.
Yeah.
Let's draft up a statute that says we do it. And if you look at the permits for these, two things happen. One, the decommissioning permit that I referenced earlier, it handles the decommissioning, but it also does a full summary of all the state level permits. Whether you need a stormwater permit, PBR, whether you need a NERPA permit, whatever kind of permits you need from the state, get all wrapped into that one document, and then issued from the state. So
Great.
again, I'm just raising that point as for a process.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we don't want to get down into the nitty gritty tonight. What we're just doing is seeing if we have the documentation. Do you have some more markings?
No, this is in the land use, ordinance, I think we're, I already talked about the performance guarantees. We don't have to go over the public hearing timelines or anything like that. Let me ask the board's opinion though. Lately, we've been talking a lot for subdivisions about employing independent consultants to help us evaluate subdivisions because we feel a little bit out of our depth on them. Do we feel confident at this point in time that we're not going to need any independent consulting services for a solar farm like this?
I have no confidence whatsoever in what the future is going to bring us on this. I don't know what's going to happen when Glenn goes back to Jamie and says, what are we doing with the property lines here? I got no confidence at all that we know what's going on. We don't know what Jamie's going to say. We don't know how the land is going to divide out.
If let me just put it this way, if at any point during the process,
yep,
we feel that we need an independent consultant, section 4.3 on conditional use permits and site plan review, B, says that we can employ an independent consultant at the cost to be borne by the applicant to help us evaluate things. It just like we can do with subdivisions if we need it.
Yep.
And we can use that if we feel it's necessary when we really get into things, if there's anything that comes up that we feel out of our depth.
So the thing to do here would be to simplify the ownership and property lines as much as possible and convince Jamie that if he wanted to come back later to get us to revise it, to do it that way rather than to try to, but something's got to be more concrete than this on the property lines.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for being so thorough and how you looked through it. I appreciate it.
I told my neighbors ask questions for me.
Does the board have any other questions or comments? Again, I'm not trying to, I kind of want to just repeat sort of the high level of my homework or my takeaway. And what I'm seeing is item number one is ownership and subdivision.
Yeah.
Has that parcel been sold off? Is there a subdivision that needs to happen?
Yep.
That's going to be item number one for us.
Yep.
I think that, and I think if that comes to fruition, the rest of this stuff sort of falls into place. The next one was looking at the town's resource, confirming the natural resource protection area, confirming that that's it has, but again, I would confirm that. You want a copy of the MRP approval, that's fine. I will track down the deed, that's fine. But again, the deed is, intertwined with that subdivision.
Maybe it's deeds.
No, like I said, the one I was looking at was handwritten, and so I want to make sure I'm looking at the right.
More is better.
Well, the title abstracts were like, 1 in 30, so I want to make sure we're giving you something that is easy to understand.
CMP approval.
Yeah, CMP approval, yeah, I got that one. I will look at, page 19 and the performance requirements of the town. Yeah, general liability, that's no big deal. Yeah, so it's really the subdivision, that's kind of the gating item.
Yeah.
That's an impressive, resume, here, so you worked in San Francisco for a while, too.
I did for Gavin Newsom. Told Gavin he probably didn't want to put solar and wind farms all over San Francisco, but, that was a year ago. And I spent way too much time in coal plants, and I have no desire to ever go back to coal plants, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate seeing an application this complete. No, this is great. We got a few things and we should be able to move forward. That's great.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn.
Let you get on with your Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. So, what's that?
That's Glenn Walker right there.
Yeah.
And it looks like his brother's involved in the business, Miles Walker.
Great.
It's a heavy experience.
So I wanted to talk about some housekeeping, sort of warning what's coming up. We're due to have an election of officers. We do it annually. We do it in April. I do not want to be chair anymore, and the reason is that I will be turning 80 this summer. I don't believe that somebody who's 80 years old should be chair of the planning board. It's a time to retire for a second time.
Did you say that last year?
I never said I'd be 80. I just said that was coming up. That was what I saw happening. And so we're going to need a different chair, and I just wanted to, it's a big decision to make, to be willing to do that.
On the same line, should we look for another secretary?
And we need a secretary. We're good with sergeant at arms, but yeah.
So I have something for everybody to think about, and that is that I don't think that anybody who takes on the role of chair needs to think of it as a chair until I get so old that I can't do it anymore. And a good model to look at is the selectmen, because they rotate their chairmanship.
The last 2 years.
No, it hasn't happened for Jim.
Trying to do it.
So it's
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, it's always been that, the one that's going out that year is the chairman, but that's the way it always was, but the other two don't.
well, we can spread the responsibility around. In all the organizations that I've been in, you normally have a president or a chair, a vice president, or a vice chair, like a treasurer and a secretary. And the way it happens is everybody moves up a notch a year. The chair is chair for a year. Then they move back. The vice chair becomes the chair. The secretary becomes the vice chair, the treasurer becomes the secretary, or whatever. But you know, it not only spreads the workload, it also helps develop experience. So that, because when you have the responsibility for the projects and things like that, you're learning more. So that's one thing to think about. And the other is that I think we have 1, 2, 3 people who have never been to the Maine, what's the Maine Municipal Association's planning board training session. I went to that when I started on it. I could probably use a refresher, but that's also something that we should do to invest in. Have the town invest in a little bit of training for the folks that are on the planning board. So
They do a lot of that on Zoom.
yeah. And,
How is it all mine? Yeah. Yeah, everything's recorded. There's a boatload of stuff on the main state website.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot imagine how much stuff is on there. Training for everything to do with municipalities. Everything. You just gotta look for it.
Yeah.
It takes a while to find it.
Yeah.
That's very difficult.
So, who's going to step forward to be secretary? Maybe that's a question we should leave in the air, but maybe it's something that we might answer tonight. We got to answer the question: who's going to be secretary and who's going to be chair?
What are the responsibilities of secretary?
Well, unfortunately, dear, I mean, you're asking. You're
I'm-
ineligible.
That's fine. I have no idea what it would even be anyway, so.
So taking the minutes and keeping track of the applications.
Sending out public notices for meetings.
So he could be a co-chair and like one of the board,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't throw cold water on enthusiasm.
Oh, I know, no. Yeah, he doesn't know what's coming down the pike. Yeah, we want you. Yeah. No, that's an interesting idea.
It's about 4 hours.
Would you like to be a junior assistant secretary?
I'll have to think about it. I'm not terribly organized, so I'm like a little concerned about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm not.
Matt, would you consider being chair this next year?
I tried it once before, and I got uncomfortable with the leadership responsibilities, and bagged it. I could be willing to try it again, but I can't be a chair like you and Norm were, where you can just carry on because of your vast institutional knowledge and kind of, it would really have to be a very collaborative effort. And by having it be a team effort, I'm also including the selectmen and the CEO. One thing that I cannot do is chair a planning board through acrimony and backstabbing and, problems and stuff like somewhat reluctant to commit to it because of my experience with the, being the chair of the comprehensive plan. I worked on that for 3 years, and we had our last meeting in September of 2024, and we agreed to not have any more meetings, November of 2024, and we agreed to have, fix a lot of things through emails and back and forth until we had our public hearing in March. And we did work on a lot of things, and Bob hired me for that job. He picked the 12 people who were on the committee, the comprehensive plan committee, and he and the Southern Maine Planning and Development Representative Michaela, Bob was copied on every freaking email between November and March, every one, and there were dozens of them. Every draft, all the ideas and everything. And I went into that March meeting believing that we had a unified front and that we had done a good job and addressed all the issues. And at that meeting, the 40 or so people in the room from the town barely had any questions, and everybody was in support of it. And Bob stood up, completely sabotaged me and sandbagged me, and said, I think there are major holes in this plan. I still have nightmares about that and lose sleep over it. And I want to help the town. I want to do a good job, but I cannot do it, and I won't do it if Bob and or Dale are working against me behind the scenes, because that's what they did on the comprehensive plan. And I tried my damnedest to modify it to meet their needs and got nowhere. And
well, that's why I stood up to him tonight, because somebody's got to stand up to Bob. And in fact, we all do. Well, or he takes over. That's his nature.
I want his help and support.
You're not going to get it. He doesn't know how. It's like it's missing part of his brain. He's the only selectman where I have had other selectmen come up to me and ask me to vote against him. Not to vote for the other guy, just to vote against Bob.
Yeah. But
because he's so hard to work with.
Between 80 and 90 people voted for him.
I'm on camera.
At the last election, there is no camera.
There's no camera anymore?
No, I don't know. And I was as a write-in candidate.
So behind anyways.
He has community support.
No, I don't know.
What? We're supposed to move on. I mean, we all know Bob. I get why you have concerns.
Well, what are your thoughts about my concerns or my apprehension to be chair if I'm uncomfortable with problematic discourse and acrimonious.
I mean, I think if the board does what Bob thinks is right, there's no acrimony. If the board does what Bob doesn't think is right, there'll be some level of acrimony. What that is, I have no idea.
Yeah,
you don't know what it is.
Here's what I'm saying, is that I need, if I'm going to take this responsibility, I need the board and the CEO and rational selectmen to motivate,
We turned it off.
to motivate Bob to be, he doesn't have to agree with us all the time, but he needs to be transparent and honest rather than deceitful.
He's probably been through this all his life. This is nothing new.
You just have to realize that what you're doing is for the best of the people, and what he says, just let it go. Because if you don't, he's gonna eat the inside of you. Just know that what you're doing is what's best for the people.
That's what I'm trying to do.
But, you know, you can always take the position, and
No, it's not.
if it feels like it's a rat's den or a snake's den, he's like, not what I signed up for, I'm stepping down. And then somebody else has to make the decision to step up.
Well, that'll happen if it gets to that point. I'll prioritize my mental health. But I would also like to, I think we're on the verge of having a really good team of planning board, select person support, and with Kent as CEO, I feel like we can accomplish things somewhat in lockstep, and I'd really like to see that happen. It could actually be fun. It could be enjoyable, you know.
It was before Bob started coming to the meeting.
And it doesn't have to be difficult.
I would support you as vice chair if you would like. In other words, to do a teamwork situation, which is what you suggested the secretary, which I think is a great idea. And I would do the same as chair for you. I would be vice chair, and whatever you assign to me, special duties, being your political officer.
All right, we can do that, and it'll be good. You know, somebody will need to be here because I'm away at least in May, June, July, and August. I'm away at least 1 week every month at archery shoots.
Yeah.
So you know,
So
sometimes
ease me out of the office. It won't be too much of a shock.
So if you want to vote, I'm away the first meeting in April.
Don't say it out loud.
When you're going to vote.
It's on video, you don't want people knowing.
So, you know, I
Yeah,
know that
we all get days off once in a while.
you're going to vote, and yeah. So I'll give it a try with the understanding of what we just discussed.
So I'll put it on the agenda in April.
I'll accept and send you.
Okay.
And other than that, you just wanna try to keep communication open. Communicate if there's something that's bothering you, let me know.
Talk to Jim. That's what I do, what I've done. Hasn't always worked, but he doesn't do what I tell him to do all the time. Thank you. Great. Thank you, guys.
Someday I'll get up to the big table.
You gotta get there earlier, that's all.
That's right.
We still need you to come to meetings even if you're not vice chair.
I understand. Do they can.
We need a longer table. And where would we have been tonight without your access to the minutes and clearing up the subdivision?
Well, that was just online. I just went online.
See, you're one of those kids who knows about stuff like that.
You go to town website, and, we're setting up a new website, and, the new company that we're going with doesn't want to archive our minutes. But Robin says, yeah, we should, because for that reason, we can look back, I don't want to do it, so we're pushing it there.
Yeah, I've had to go back to at least 2022
Yeah,
to check on something.
I've gone back on, so.
They are valuable Yeah, especially to me, they're valuable. If something comes up, I can look back on whether it went through the planning board or not.
Yes, you guys have done it many times, so what exactly you said there.
So that reference on the chart looks like it's a reference to the town archives. So it should be Article 11, if some town vote, be voted on that town farm road. So Robin or Deb should know what that reference
Was
means.
there a year date on that?
No, archives, so it's a volume number, it's a page, and then the article. So it should be to one of the town farms.
Probably dead.
And I'll send her an email. Bob took a picture too. That's what Google says.
What did it say about Town Farm Road?
It was discontinued.
When it was discontinued.
Not that it makes a difference because the subdivision, I think trumps it, but no, it's a legal issue. Trumps whether or not Town Farm Road separates the two because they agreed as one. So. Anything else tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, that's it.
And we have a second. All those in favor? We're adjourned.